Hey, what's up guys, it's Fish here and welcome back to my glorious Bannerman 2, some more Attila Total War Medieval Kingdoms 1212. Today we are playing another online battle. Today is a 2v3. On my side is representing the 2 players is me and Pixelated Apollo, and representing the 3 players is Lionheart, Warrior Sparta and Alex Rambler, and we're kind of just having a big old brawl over this hill, like just kind of just rushing the hill, trying to get up there as quickly as we can and just kind of clashing. It's going to be a kind of a short battle, but it should still be really interesting. So I'll quickly run through all the armies. If you want to skip this, there should be an annotation on your screen just to jump straight to the battle. But you know, I know some people like to actually look at the armies and see what factions people are playing and stuff, so that's what we'll do now. I am playing over here as the glorious Hungarians. I think the Hungarians are my favorite faction. I know I've said that quite a bit, but just look at these spearmen. They are just awesome. They really are. Their shields are just huge. Even their sergeants look amazing. Even their commanding officers. Look at his plate armor. This is crazy. This unit is my favorite unit in the game, I think, along with the Hungarian Knights. They're just as cool. So for my main line, I have 5 of these guys just kind of commanding my front line, and then as my kind of backup, I have a bunch of these guys as well, my Hungarian sword sergeants, which are pretty sturdy melee infantry unit. Like, what I found out when using the Hungarians is it's best to kind of use the spearmen as your front line because they're so tanky. They have like 105 armor, which is just obscene compared to the other units. And then kind of use these swordsmen to just support them. Like, just coming through the ranks, coming from behind them, using them to outflank the enemy. Because they're just, you know, these guys are a good impact unit, whereas the spearmen are better at kind of just holding the line. And then on my front line, I have 4 units of peasant archers. I again rate peasant archers so much. They have the same missile damage, and people don't use, like, archers in melee enough, just because they're not used to doing it. So they just don't really just kind of use the archers like in combat. So there's no point spending so much money on them if you're just not going to use them effectively. And then I have 3 units of these Hungarian Knights. Again, just such a good looking unit. Heavily armoured, ready to do battle with any foe that comes in their path. I think I also have a spearman unit over here. Yeah, I also have a cheaper spearman unit if we zoom in. Sorry, still just getting used to the controls. Yeah, then I also have this unit, which is kind of a lightly armoured unit of my spearmen. You can see they're not quite as heavily plated as them dudes are, but they still have a big enough shield to kind of hold their own. I'm going to use that army to kind of support my cavalry. Apollo is playing as Burgundy, I think. Is he playing as Burgundy? Let's have a look. Yeah, he's playing as Burgundy. He has a bunch of these sword sergeants in the back. Just a very nice kind of shock infantry right here. Looking cool. And I think Burgundy actually have the uniforms which change colour depending what count you play as well, which is nice. You know, it's a bit of a difference there. Some axe infantry here and some, well, mix between axe and sword infantry and mace infantry. These guys have just got a bit of everything. Looking awesome. His general, oh, look at this blue. This is a nice blue. Looking very cool. What else does he have? Some knights. Some lightly armoured knights, actually. These guys don't have plate mail, so they're going to actually struggle a little bit. But that dude is looking epic. Look at him. Everyone else is just, like, normally set out, and he's just, like, fully in stripes with his friend as well. Them two are killing it right now in the fashion game. Then, as his front line, he has a bunch of these halberdiers, which will be really nice for holding the line. Again, just like my spearmen. And that dude right there, he looks cool. I love his golden tinted armour. Then he also has some more of these like men-at-arms infantry, which again are pretty much just like dismounted knights, and they have super high armor. And oh, these guys have warhammers as well. Yeah, these dudes are just brutal. They're going to be able to just chop down anything in their path. And I think he does have some more cavalry over here. But oh no, just some spearmen over here. I guess these guys are going to be here to support his cavalry in combat, because that's kind of how our meta is evolving as we play. Like, at the beginning we just used to clash cavalry into each other and let them fight, and then we started going ahead and deciding to actually go ahead and bring infantry like spearmen along with cavalry to go ahead and turn that tide in our favor. And now we're starting to also bring like infantry into the cavalry engagements to beat the spearmen, so that then our spearmen can beat the cavalry. It's like kind of like an evolving meta, which is really interesting. So on this side, who is playing as England? Who is playing as England? Does it not say? Let me know. I think Warrior Sparta is playing as the English. over here, even though it doesn't say, which is kind of weird, but I'm pretty sure Warrior Sparta is playing as the English. He has a bunch of these yeoman archers. Again, like, these guys are expensive and they're half decent in melee, but people just don't seem to use them too much because they're just so used to archers just always getting wrecked in melee. But in this mod, you know, they're heavily armored. The more money you pay, the more heavily armored they are. So here's a bunch of these for his front line. That'll be a really nice skirmish component. That's Lionheart's army there. The rest of Warrior's army consists of some of these English halberdiers, or what are they even called? Are they called halberdiers? Heavy billmen, sorry. Apologies. Yeah, I thought their spears looked different to halberdiers. So he's got a bunch of these guys. Then for the back of his line, he has some more foot-at-arms men. Some foot-at-arms men. Some men-at-arms foot. These guys are going to be able to match Apollo's infantry, and if not even beat them. Look at their shoulder plates and their maces. Damn. Damn, damn, damn. God, this intro is really long as well. You can obviously skip it at any point with the annotation. He also has another unit over there. This is kind of just making up his main line. And then he has, I think, the English king over here in his helmet. Looking awesome. Awesome indeed. So yeah, that's Warrior Sparta's army. So yeah, I forgot. I think I didn't mention it as well. The rules at the beginning of the match, because it was a 2v3, we kind of made it as even as possible. So they're only allowed to have 8 units of cavalry, including general, and we're only allowed to have 8 units of cavalry. So even though they have more players, they're not allowed to bring more cavalry. As well as that, they are only allowed to bring 40 units in total, because we're only allowed to bring 40 units. And they were also only allowed to spend 30k, I think, so 10k each. And me and Apollo were only allowed to spend 15k each. So we kind of evened it out. So everyone has the exact same amount of men, units. Well, like, they're allowed to bring the same amount of men. They have the exact same amount of cavalry, and we also have the same amount of cash in total. So Lionheart is playing as the Teutonic Order. He has a bunch of these Vorderbruder. I think these guys are the Vorderbruder. Oh, Ritterbruder, my mistake. Here's a bunch of these guys. Again, oh my god, we like zoomed into his face there. Oh my god, look at that. Look at that eye. That's not scary at all. It's not going to give me nightmares. So here's a bunch of this for his heavy cavalry. Then, as his missile component, he has like 4 units of these crossbowmen, 2 over there, and then 2 down here as well. And Lionheart is just rushing the hill. He's a bit further ahead than everyone else, but you know, he's just getting his body into my face as soon as possible, you know, trying to take the high ground. Then supporting that, he's a bunch of these Teutonic sergeants, which really aren't the best in the world, unfortunately. These guys kind of lack down the Teutonic Order. But again, they just look really nice. I love the sergeants. I love the sergeants in most of these units. Then supporting that, he does have some... Oh no, this is the French played by Rambler, so let's ignore that for now. He does have some spearmen. I think 2 or 3 units of spearmen supporting his sergeants on the front line. So lastly, we have Alex Rambler playing as the French. Oh my god, these guys are like the Hungarian knights. That's awesome. They're not as heavily armored, I don't think, but they still look very, very cool. So Alex Rambler is playing as the French. He has some halberdiers in the left flank. He has a bunch of spearmen kind of taking up his front rank. Then supporting that, he does also have some archers. I didn't even realise the French had archers. Or Scots got. Oh yeah, of course they do. I was going to say, I thought the French only actually had crossbowmen and guns, but I guess not. Ooh, okay, these guys are a bit more heavily armoured. Are they exactly the same? Actually, I think they're just the same unit. Okay. That guy looked a lot more heavily armoured than everyone else. So that's kind of his main line, is the Pavis. And then he has some more halberdiers. And then he just has some like melee infantry. These guys will be good at like piercing armour and stuff, which is what he needs to do against my heavily armoured infantry. God, look at the English king up there. That's awesome. You kind of got like components of the battlefield. So cool. I've gone ahead and gone through all the armies. Right now, we can look the balance of power. Me and Apollo do actually have a few more men right now, but that just means that they've kind of got a few more quality men because we do obviously have the exact same amount of funds. So yeah, let's go ahead and kick this battle off. We will go ahead and play on slow-mo for some of it as well. The archer fire is already going off. My peasant archers just shelling his position. Look at that, the sheer amount of volleys going in. Trying to pick off a few of these horses. The cavalry engagement almost happened there. I was trying to prevent Lionheart from kind of taking the hill there, but he did push up and try and prevent me from doing that because, you know, like his spearmen are so close to my infantry. I just didn't want to engage that, so I'm deciding to move up my Pavis spearmen. Oh, look how epic they just look. Gonna go ahead and advance these guys. Oh, quickly, let's go and slow-mo it. What does it say? The hotkey for slow-mo. It doesn't. Damn. I'll have to look that up. Let's just slow-mo this bad boy as the Teutonic sergeants just clash against my soldiers. Here we go. They're going to smash it. Oh, look at them. Spears down, boys. Let's give them hell. And Lionheart, I think, actually tries to pull out here for a little bit and then decides, damn, we can't actually get out of here. So, yeah, he's trying to pull back to kind of give his allies a bit of a better chance to move up. But I do manage to catch quite a few of them. And this also does create a bit of a gap over here. Oh, some of these guys getting outflanked as well already. I've got such heavily armored troops as well. Archer volleys going in on the crossbowmen, which is really nice. We're going to have another engagement over here. As he's trying to pull back for sergeants to kind of use them as a flanking force, which is really nice. My BVs, I don't know what these guys are doing. They're kind of in a very poorly formation right here. This is not going to help them out. But again, you can just see how cool they look. They just don't give a fuck. They're just like, yeah, whatever. We'll form up side onto the enemy. The archer fire going overhead. The sergeants coming in from both sides. Actually doing a very good job. Oh, look at that in the stomach, just penetrating that plate armor. Oh, look at him, and he's just sitting there like, what have I done? Gonna bring in some of my sergeants now. These are, these are some really, really good units of infantry. My Hungarian swords. These guys should have a whale of a time against these sergeants, just because they're decently armored and they're a sword and shield unit. So they should absolutely, hopefully, wreck this melee infantry. For everyone down the line, I'm bringing up more swords to go ahead and help out the battle. Just to go ahead and just try and overwhelm them as much as possible. Because, again, we do have the numbers. And Rambler's kind of not fully engaged at the moment. So if I can use my swords to overwhelm Lionheart, like kind of in the center, and break him before Rambler really gets involved, I should be doing okay. You know, Rambler is starting to outflank me over here with his soldiers. Oh, look at them crossbow bolts as well. Just going to be slaughtering. Yeah, look at my numbers drop. Slaughtering my peasant archers who are just so lightly armored. But I have managed to block off a decent amount of his territory with my swordsmen. What are these guys even called? Because I keep butchering their name. They're just sergeants, okay? My Hungarian sergeants. I've got these guys protecting my flanks, really. And I also formed shield wall with these guys as well. So if Rambler does decide to move in some men over here, like my sergeants will be absolutely fine at dealing with them. The line for Pixelated Apollo and Warrior kind of clash now. So I'm kind of fighting Lionheart and Rambler right now, just trying to hold them off whilst Pixie can kind of deal with the English and kind of take them down. So his lines of clash. It's going to be a pretty brutal fight because like it's just men at arms versus men at arms. So these guys are going to be smashing away at each other for a long time. They're heavily armored units. They don't mess around whatsoever. You just see the men getting cut down all along the line. These halberdiers are going to be having a good time trying to keep these men at arms at range, which I think they'll be able to do. Just kicking away. You got some more men at arms over here. That guy just got a mace hit to the head and he's still getting up. That is plate armor, I guess. So just smashing away. The archer fire going overhead. Apollo's going to also go ahead and just bring up some more infantry just to support his line if he needs to. We go further down Apollo's battle line against Warrior. And yeah, as I said, these guys are just hitting away at each other, trying to cause as much damage as possible. The halberdier is going to be doing a perfect job at dealing with the men-at-arms, because they can kind of keep them at range, kind of nullifying the effect of the men-at-arms weapons. And god, this is one big-ass battle line. Just look at it. This just stretches right now. There's also a cavalry engagement over here, which I don't think Apollo will actually be winning over here. I feel like Warrior Sparta's cavalry is just a lot more effective. And we also have like other chainmail, looks really cool. But I think Apollo, yeah, has just overwhelmed Warrior over here. Because they have the majority of their cavalry on that right flank, it allows Apollo to kind of abuse his cavalry strength over here and kind of punish the fact that they have so much cavalry on my side of the battle, which is still rearing on. So the cavalry fight has engaged over here. Rambler has done a really good job of engaging my cavalry with spearmen, but I've also done a good job at engaging Lionheart's cavalry with my spearmen over here. You can see my Hungarian knights fighting the Teutonic knights, which I'm pretty sure I will come out on top, just because you can see I have plate armor and they only have chainmail, which is going to be really devastating. I also have some of my spearmen actually in the battle as well, just helping me out here. However, the battle does continue with the cavalry fight over here. Lionheart is starting to use his greater superior cavalry numbers on this right flank to go ahead and abuse that and just straight up attack me. As well as that, Rambler is pouring in spearmen and pikemen. And actually actually got some halberdiers here as well. Just pouring into, this is like a really bad spot for my cavalry. You can see I'm going to try and run them out as much as possible. Actually getting a charge on Lionheart's general over here, which is going to cause huge damage. And if I can break Lionheart's general here, this is going to give me a huge morale buff. There you go, you can see him, he falls to his death. Good job, Hungarian Knights. So this is going to really help me out along the main battle line, because it's going to allow kind of me to break his center. You can already see some of the weaker men in the center are already starting to break now. You know, these guys have been fighting, 50 men over here, 50 men over there. Once they start losing numbers, they just do not have the same morale as they once did without their general. So because of this is going to kind of free up a lot of my units to actually go ahead and turn and start putting the pain on Alex Rambler now. Because beforehand, I couldn't really hurt Rambler too much because he just obviously was overwhelming me with his numbers. My sergeant's coming down now, just chasing the enemy. Gonna get a really nice rear charge over here with my sergeants, my Hungarian sergeants, just smashing into the back. Just gonna be giving devastating damage, and we can probably go back up to normal speed for now. As the battle just continues, the battle sounds come back. See the Teutonic Knights fighting for their lives. It was bloodbath right now. Absolute bloodbath. And the fight over there, you can see the battle line with Apollo is just going just as crazy. But by the looks of it, my men are starting to prevail. These halberdiers are giving me a real hard time. Just charging deep into my ranks. But again, I'm starting to overwhelm them. So because I can do that, I can definitely outflank these guys. You can see my Pavese spearmen are starting to turn around. But the halberdiers are just pushing forward, cutting down my ranks. God, I need to hold that line. Yeah, you can see now, though, my spearmen are clashing in the back of it. It's being a bit laggy as well. I don't really know why it's being so laggy. But it's being a bit jumpy, which is a bit weird. But we'll just run through it nonetheless. Swordsman. The swordsman should be doing a good job against the French Pavese spearmen. The cavalry fight is still underway. My shield wall over here is holding as best it can. These Teutonic sergeants are currently actually in shield wall as well. And they're doing a very good job at kind of just holding the line, pushing it back. Because all I needed these guys to do was hold whilst my center one. You can see my center is definitely one on this flank. The cavalry fight is just as brutal. I think I'm actually losing some of these fights over here. Yeah, the halberdiers are just outmatching my Pavese spearmen. They're just more heavily armored. Because these are my weaker Pavese spearmen. These aren't my fully armored ones. So because of that, I just can't really penetrate their trait mail. But I get an awesome charge with my Hungarian Knights in the back. Just cut them down. Hungarian steel. Feel it. Just love the Hungarian force. And you can see I'm also managed to cut down a bunch of Lionheart's cavalry there. You can see on my flank it's starting to go well. The Burgundians have managed to rout the English forces, and it's looking good for us. It's looking good for me and Apollo. Rambler is going to get a final last-ditch charge off onto my peasant archers, and that's just going to be brutal for me. These peasant archers are what their name suggests. They're just peasants. They have no armor, and their weapons just cannot penetrate. These knives will not be able to penetrate, probably not even the horse's armor. So because of that, they're just going to get run down, and Rambler's going to use this just to kind of rack up some more kills on his general. The French king will go down fighting and killing peasants. Just killing the peasants. But you can see the final battle is looking good. Yeah, Warrior and Pixelated Apollo are kind of having a little race over here with the generals, which is very funny. But Apollo is going to give up and decide to charge into the back of these soldiers to go ahead and help rout the enemy. And my cavalry is going to keep on doing the same over here as well, just smashing into the back of these halberdiers and sword infantry. Hungarian Knights just looking epic. catching his general as well. Also bringing my knights over just to try and kill, because really all we need to do is finish off the rest of Lionheart's cavalry. The rest of Alex Rambler's cavalry, and we'll kind of just rout everything else. Apollo manages to finally catch up on the English king and kill him. Finally. And he's also bringing over all his infantry now just to kind of help clean up the rest of the day. Manpower-wise, yeah, we have 2,800 men left. Damn, and they only have 400. That is crazy. We are starting to rout a bunch of their soldiers. Hungarian and... who even was Apollo again? I've forgotten. He was... Does it not say? It does say somewhere, but I've completely forgotten. Who is that? Burgundy, yes. The Hungarian-Burgundy alliance was just too strong. And now we're just going to kind of clean up the rest of the soldiers. I'll speed out whilst the last of the battle plays, because it's pretty much just running down a few of the last men. The Hungarian knights just looking epic. Actually, we'll play it on normal speed, because apparently that seems to go a lot faster. And we'll just admire the Hungarian steel. And if we look at the death as well, this has been a very bloody battle. Just look at all the dead bodies just along the main battle line. Many, many brave men have died today. But not too many Hungarians. The Hungarians managed to stay fairly strong on this. The Bavese spearmen just being so strong. Unless they were up against the halberdiers and they kind of struggled. But the Teutonic sergeants just weren't heavy enough to really deal with them. Which kind of put the Teutonic Order on the back foot straight away. So there you go. It seems to be a decisive victory for me and Pixelated Apollo. It was an awesome battle to play. Obviously, we're not try-harding the battle. You know, we're just trying to have fun. So, you know, there's obviously a lot of things people could have done differently, I'm sure. But yeah, you can just see the Teutonic Order, their infantry just couldn't get through my armor. And my Bavese spearmen had a whale of a time kind of dealing with that. You know, Rambler's forces did pretty good as well. You know, the halberdiers definitely did do the damage. His king, or his count, sorry, absolutely wrecking my peasant archers. The Scots Guard as well, probably racking up a few decent kills on my heavily armoured units. Apollo's men, yeah, all Apollo's infantry did good. Definitely his men-at-arms did amazing. Cavalry not so great compared to obviously mine. But again, mine were up against a lot more forces, because I was against 2, whereas Apollo was only against warriors' men. So because of that, he could have kind of used his greater numbers. And you can see, they kind of took a lot more cavalry on my side of the battle. So because of that, Apollo could kind of use his cavalry as to kind of flank round and take out a lot of the soldiers. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little battle. It probably wasn't too quick because I did a really long intro, but obviously you guys could have just skipped that. So let me know what factions you want me to see, want me to play next, and let me know how awesome the Hungarians are, because I just love their armies. They are just amazing. They're probably my favourite faction in the game for sure. And yeah, oh my god, look at that unit as well. And Sergeant's killing 264 men. Nice. And my general as well, my king, my Hungarian king killed 221. What a beast. So yeah, as I said, I hope you guys enjoy this. Make sure to drop lots of love on this video. Likes and comments are always appreciated. And I'll see you guys next time, and fish out.